It's wise to pursue wisdom. And in today's reflection, Marcus Aurelius, who is one of the most emblematic Stoic philosophers, navigates with us at the heart of self-control. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor from 161 to 180 Common Era, is remembered not only as a ruler, but as one of history's greatest Stoic philosophers. His private journal, known as Meditations, is a collection of personal reflections on living a virtuous life, maintaining self-discipline, and navigating the challenges of power and mortality. Among the recurring themes in Meditations is the idea of self-control, often encapsulated in phrases like, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This script explores what Marcus Aurelius meant by control yourself, situating his philosophy within the broader Stoic framework, his personal and political life, and its enduring relevance to modern challenges. We will unpack the Stoic principles of self-mastery, analyze key passages from Meditations, and apply these insights to contemporary life. The phrase, "control yourself," is not a direct quote from Marcus, but a distillation of his repeated emphasis on mastering one's thoughts, emotions, and actions. For Marcus, self-control was not about suppressing emotions or exerting rigid dominance over oneself, but about aligning one's inner life with reason and virtue. This script will trace the philosophical roots of this idea, examine how Marcus applied it in his own life, and offer practical ways to embody this principle today. To understand what Marcus Aurelius meant by control yourself, we must first explore Stoicism, the philosophical school that shaped his worldview. Founded in Athens by Zeno of Citium in the early 3rd century before the Common Era, Stoicism teaches that the path to a good life lies in practicing virtue, which consists of wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. Central to Stoicism is the dichotomy of control, the belief that we should focus only on what is within our power, our thoughts, judgments, and actions, while accepting what is beyond our control, such as external events, other people's actions, and the inevitability of death. Marcus was heavily influenced by earlier Stoics like Epictetus, whose discourses emphasized that there is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will. For Marcus, self-control was the practical application of this principle. It meant exercising authority over one's inner world, thoughts, emotions, and reactions, while letting go of the futile desire to control external circumstances. If you've watched until this point, I believe you find the topic helpful. Now it's time to support my work, please. Like the video and notify people who may need it. Share one of my playlists with them. I'll put the links in the description of the video. Thank you for helping Stoic Repertoire. In Meditations, Marcus repeatedly returns to the idea that true freedom lies in controlling one's mind. He writes, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment." This passage encapsulates the Stoic belief that external events are neutral. It is our judgments about them that cause distress or joy. Self-control for Marcus meant reframing these judgments to align with reason and virtue. For example, if a political rival insulted Marcus, he would remind himself that the insult itself was merely words, neutral in nature. The emotional sting came from his interpretation of those words as harmful. By choosing to view the insult as irrelevant to his virtue, Marcus could maintain inner peace. This practice of cognitive reframing is a cornerstone of Stoic self-control and remains a powerful tool in modern psychology, particularly in cognitive behavioral therapy. For Marcus, self-control was not an end in itself, but a means to live virtuously. In Stoicism, virtue is the only true good, and all other things, wealth, health, and reputation, are indifferents that should not dictate one's happiness. Marcus writes, "If at some point in your life you should come across anything better than justice, truth, self-control, courage, turn to it with all your heart." Here, self-control is listed alongside other cardinal virtues, underscoring its importance in the Stoic ethical framework. Self-control in this context means regulating one's desires and impulses to act in accordance with reason and moral purpose. For Marcus, this was not about denying pleasure or ambition, but about ensuring that these pursuits did not compromise one's integrity or distract from the pursuit of virtue. To fully grasp what Marcus meant by control yourself, we must consider the extraordinary context of his life. As Roman emperor, Marcus wielded near absolute power over one of the largest empires in history, yet he faced constant challenges: wars, plagues, political intrigue, and personal loss. His reign was marked by the Antonine Plague, which killed millions, and ongoing military campaigns against Germanic tribes. Despite these pressures, Marcus strove to govern justly and maintain his philosophical principles. Meditations were written during these turbulent years, often in the field during military campaigns. The text is not a polished philosophical treatise, but a series of personal notes written in Greek to remind himself of Stoic principles. The fact that Marcus wrote these reflections amidst the chaos of leadership underscores his commitment to self-control. He was not theorizing in an ivory tower, but applying philosophy to the real-world challenges of ruling an empire. As emperor, Marcus faced situations that tested his ability to control his emotions and actions. For example, he dealt with the rebellion of Avidius Cassius, a trusted general who declared himself emperor in 175 Common Era. Rather than reacting with anger or vengeance, Marcus responded with restraint, offering clemency to Cassius' followers after the rebellion was quashed. This act of self-control reflected his belief that a ruler must model virtue, even under provocation. Marcus writes, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." This principle guided his leadership, showing that self-control was not just personal, but political. By refusing to let anger dictate his actions, Marcus maintained his moral compass and preserved the stability of the empire. Marcus's meditations also reveal his personal struggles with self-control. He frequently chastises himself for lapses in discipline, such as feeling irritation or succumbing to distraction. In Book 2, he writes, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. But you must say to yourself, I will not be such a person." This passage shows Marcus preparing himself for the day by reinforcing his commitment to self-control, even when faced with difficult people. This practice of self-reflection was a key tool for Marcus. By writing meditations, he engaged in a form of philosophical journaling, using writing to clarify his thoughts and recommit to his principles. This habit underscores that self-control is not a one-time achievement, but a daily practice of self-awareness and intentionality. One of the most famous passages in Meditations encapsulates Marcus's view on self-control. "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This succinct statement summarizes the Stoic dichotomy of control and highlights the mind as the locus of personal power. For Marcus, controlling oneself meant mastering the inner dialogue, the thoughts and judgments that shape our emotional responses. This idea resonates with modern psychological practices. For example, mindfulness meditation encourages individuals to observe their thoughts without becoming entangled in them, a technique that echoes Marcus's emphasis on detaching from unhelpful judgments. Before we continue, I would like to thank you all for your support. Please do me a favor. Write this in the comment section. My mind is my fortress. I love this sentence. It speaks to me, and I hope it touches you too. Let's continue now. Marcus frequently reminds himself to accept external events with equanimity. He writes, "There is only one thing that causes unhappiness: the belief that you can control what is beyond your control." This principle is central to his philosophy of self-control. By letting go of the desire to control outcomes, whether it was the success of a military campaign or the behavior of others, Marcus freed himself to focus on his own actions and character. This acceptance is not passive resignation, but an active choice to redirect energy toward what is within one's power. For example, Marcus could not control the Antonine Plague, but he could control his response, governing with compassion, supporting his people, and maintaining his own inner peace. Another key aspect of self-control for Marcus was the discipline of desire. He writes, "Stop allowing your mind to be a slave, to be jerked about by selfish impulses." This passage reflects the Stoic practice of moderating desires to align with reason. Marcus believed that unchecked desires for wealth, fame, or pleasure could lead to inner turmoil and moral compromise. Instead, Marcus advocated desiring only what is in accordance with nature and reason. This meant valuing virtue above all else and treating external goods as secondary. For example, rather than desiring universal approval, Marcus sought to act justly, knowing that public opinion was beyond his control. Marcus's philosophy was not abstract, but deeply practical. He intended meditations as a guide for living, and his advice on self-control can be applied to everyday challenges. Here are some practical ways to embody Marcus's principle of control yourself. Marcus began each day by mentally preparing for challenges. A modern equivalent is to set an intention each morning, such as, "Today, I will respond to stress with calm and reason." This practice builds resilience and reinforces self-control. When faced with a setback, ask, "What is my judgment about this event?" By questioning automatic emotional reactions, you can reframe challenges as opportunities to practice virtue. For example, instead of seeing a traffic jam as frustrating, view it as a chance to practice patience. Marcus used writing to clarify his thoughts and recommit to his principles. Keeping a journal to reflect on your actions and emotions can help you identify patterns and strengthen self-control. Marcus often emphasized living in the present moment, as in, do every act as if it were your last. By focusing on the task at hand, you avoid being overwhelmed by worries about the future or regrets about the past. Marcus's emphasis on self-control extended to interpersonal relationships. He writes, "When someone wrongs you, ask yourself, what made them do it?" Once you understand their motive, you'll see there's nothing to be angry about. This perspective fosters empathy and prevents reactive anger, promoting healthier relationships. In practice, this means pausing before responding to a hurtful comment or action. By considering the other person's perspective, perhaps they acted out of fear or ignorance, you can respond with understanding rather than defensiveness. For those in leadership roles, Marcus's example is particularly relevant. He writes, "Be like the promontory against which the waves continually break. It stands firm and tames the fury of the water around it." This metaphor suggests that a leader should remain steady amidst chaos, modeling self-control for others. In a workplace, this might mean staying calm during a crisis, focusing on solutions rather than blame, and maintaining integrity even under pressure. By embodying self-control, leaders inspire trust and create a stable environment. Marcus's ideas about self-control have striking parallels with modern psychological practices. Cognitive behavioral therapy, also known as CBT, for example, is based on the premise that our thoughts influence our emotions and behaviors. By changing maladaptive thought patterns, individuals can manage anxiety, depression, and other challenges. This approach mirrors Marcus's emphasis on controlling one's judgments to achieve inner peace. Similarly, mindfulness-based stress reduction encourages non-judgmental awareness of thoughts and emotions, aligning with Marcus's advice to observe one's mind without being enslaved by it. These connections highlight the timelessness of his philosophy. In today's world, self-control is more challenging and more necessary than ever. The constant stimulation of social media, notifications, and instant gratification can erode self-discipline. Marcus's advice to focus on what is within our control is a powerful antidote. For example, instead of reacting impulsively to a provocative post on X, we can choose to pause, reflect, and respond thoughtfully, or not at all. Marcus might also caution against the desire for external validation through likes or followers, which he would classify as an indifferent. Instead, he would encourage focusing on internal metrics of success, such as acting with integrity or pursuing meaningful goals. Modern life presents unique challenges to self-control, from workplace stress to personal relationships strained by digital communication. Marcus's philosophy offers practical solutions. When overwhelmed, Marcus advises, concentrate on doing what's in front of you with precision and care. Breaking tasks into manageable steps and focusing on the present can reduce anxiety. In an era of instant gratification, Marcus's discipline of desire is crucial. Setting clear priorities and aligning actions with long-term goals can help resist short-term temptations, such as procrastination or overconsumption. Marcus's advice to understand others' motives can de-escalate conflicts in personal and professional settings. By practicing empathy and restraint, we can maintain harmony even in tense situations. One critique of Stoicism, including Marcus's emphasis on self-control, is that it can seem to advocate emotional suppression. By focusing on reason and detachment, Stoics might appear to undervalue emotions. However, Marcus did not advocate eliminating emotions, but managing them through rational reflection. He writes, "You don't have to turn this into something. It doesn't have to upset you," suggesting that emotions are natural, but should not dictate one's actions. Modern psychology supports this balanced approach. Emotional regulation, rather than suppression, is key to mental health. Marcus's philosophy aligns with this by encouraging individuals to process emotions thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Another critique is that Stoic self-control may be difficult for those facing extreme adversity, such as poverty or trauma. Marcus, as an emperor, had resources and power that made self-control more feasible. However, his philosophy was inspired by Epictetus, a former slave, suggesting that Stoicism is adaptable to various circumstances. The focus on inner freedom means that anyone, regardless of external conditions, can practice self-control by managing their thoughts and actions. Marcus's ideas were shaped by the Greco-Roman world, where self-control was a masculine ideal tied to leadership and citizenship. In modern contexts, cultural differences may affect how self-control is perceived. For example, collectivist cultures may prioritize group harmony over individual self-mastery. Nonetheless, Marcus's emphasis on universal virtues like justice and compassion makes his philosophy broadly applicable. Marcus's Meditations has inspired philosophers, writers, and leaders for centuries. Its emphasis on self-control influenced Enlightenment thinkers like John Locke and modern figures like former US President Bill Clinton, who reportedly read Meditations during his presidency. The text's accessibility, written in plain, direct language, has made it a timeless guide for those seeking self-discipline. In recent years, Stoicism has seen a resurgence, fueled by books like Ryan Holiday's the obstacle is the way and online communities on platforms like WeX. Marcus's ideas about self-control resonate with those navigating the complexities of modern life, from entrepreneurs to athletes. His emphasis on focusing on what is within our control offers a counterbalance to the chaos of the digital age. Marcus's philosophy is not just theoretical, but a call to action. He writes, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." This encapsulates his view of self-control as an active, ongoing practice. By committing to self-mastery, individuals can live with purpose and resilience, regardless of external circumstances. Marcus Aurelius's concept of control yourself is a profound yet practical guide to living well. Rooted in Stoic philosophy, it emphasizes mastering one's thoughts, emotions, and actions while accepting what is beyond our control. For Marcus, self-control was not about rigid discipline, but about aligning one's inner life with reason and virtue. His Meditations offers a roadmap for navigating life's challenges, from the pressures of leadership to the temptations of daily life. In a world of constant distractions and external pressures, Marcus's wisdom remains strikingly relevant. By focusing on what we can control, our judgments, actions, and character, we can find strength and purpose. Whether through morning reflections, cognitive reframing, or empathetic responses to conflict, Marcus's principles offer practical tools for self-mastery. Ultimately, control yourself is an invitation to live intentionally, to choose virtue over impulse, and to find freedom in the power of the mind. As Marcus writes, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." By embracing this philosophy, we can cultivate a life of resilience, integrity, and inner peace. It's wise to pursue wisdom, my friends. As always, your mind is your fortress.